It's Thursday, the 8th of May. Welcome to the PDB Afternoon Bulletin. I'm Mike Baker, your eyes and ears on the world stage. All right, let's get briefed. First, President Trump inks a new trade deal with Britain. The first major agreement reached since announcing his plans to impose sweeping reciprocal tariffs on U.S. trading partners. The announcement comes just ahead of pivotal talks between the U.S. and China set to take place in Geneva this week. Later in the show, violent antisemitic protests have returned to Columbia University. Well, where else would they return to? Where police arrested dozens of students Wednesday night after they seized the school's main library in one of the largest and most chaotic demonstrations since last year's pro-Palestinian campus uprisings. You have to ask, are these protests that spring up on campuses, are they just grassroots, spontaneous events, or are there national and international organizations behind them that provide funding and communications and logistical support? Really? You have to ask? I mean, is the Pope Catholic? Ooh, speaking of which, we have a new Pope. We'll cover that in detail in tomorrow morning's PDB. All right, let's jump into today's afternoon spotlight. We'll begin with a major economic update as President Trump inks what he called a, quote, breakthrough trade agreement with the United Kingdom, the first major deal reached since the president triggered a global trade war through his sweeping tariff agenda. The agreement, announced Thursday morning, establishes a new framework for trade between the U.S. and the U.K., though the deal is not yet finalized, with officials saying the finer details will be worked out in the coming weeks. The trade deal will leave in place a 10% U.S. baseline tariff on British imports, while the U.K. will lower its baseline tariffs on U.S. goods from 5.1% to 1.8%. That's according to a report from Reuters. The U.S. will also drop import taxes on British steel and aluminum, or aluminium, from 25% to zero, and reduce a 27.5% tariff on British automobiles to 10% for a quota of 100,000 vehicles. That's almost the exact number of cars exported by Britain to the U.S. last year. Britain, in turn, has agreed to drop tariffs on some $700 million in U.S. ethanol imports from 19% to zero, in a major win for the agricultural sector. They also agreed to increase market access for some $250 million worth of U.S. beef, poultry, and other farm products, as well as soft drinks, cereal, and other goods. Additionally, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said the U.K. had agreed to purchase $10 billion worth of U.S.-assembled Boeing aircraft, and that the U.S. would allow duty-free imports for Rolls-Royce jet engines. Details were scant regarding other critical sectors, such as U.K. pharmaceutical imports, but a White House fact sheet said measures would be taken to create a secure supply chain for pharma products. All told, the White House said the new trade deal will create $5 billion in new annual export opportunities for American producers, while the 10% baseline tariff will generate, according to the report, some $6 billion in new annual revenue for the U.S. President Trump hailed it as a historic breakthrough, saying, quote, "It opens up a tremendous market for us. This is now turning out to be, really, a great deal for both countries," end quote. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, meanwhile, called it a, quote, "really fantastic historic day," adding, quote, "This is going to boost trade between and across our countries. It's going to not only protect jobs, but create jobs, opening market access," end quote. As I noted, however, other specifics of the new trade arrangement still need to be hammered out. At a press conference Thursday morning in the Oval Office, President Trump said, quote, "The final details are being written up in the coming weeks. We'll have it all very conclusive." While the agreement is certainly an encouraging sign, we should note that the U.S. and U.K. were already discussing a new economic relationship before Trump's rollout of sweeping reciprocal tariffs in early April, which he later paused for 90 days. It's also worth mentioning that the U.K. is one of the few countries with which the U.S. doesn't run a deficit. In 2024, the U.S. had a trade surplus of roughly $12 billion with Britain, and it remains a key market for U.S. exports of crude oil and gas. Investors reacted positively to the news, signaling their hopes that the deal with the UK will open the door for the White House to negotiate fresh trade agreements with other countries. All major U.S. stock indexes rallied after the announcement, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average jumping more than 600 points. The breakthrough agreement with the UK comes just ahead of critical trade talks between the U.S. and China this weekend, the first direct trade talks since the tariff war began last month. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Senior U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer will meet in Geneva, Switzerland, with Chinese Vice Premier He Lifeng to break the ice on the subject of mutual de-escalation. The talks will reportedly run from May 9th until May 12th, and will cover possible reductions to Trump's 145% tariffs and Beijing's 125% retaliatory tariffs, as well as potential exemptions for specific product categories critical to both the U.S. and Chinese economies. During his Oval Office press conference on Thursday, Trump said the U.S. was headed for a, quote, very good weekend with China, adding, quote, China has a tremendous trade surplus with us. We just can't have that. We're going to have a very good relationship, but on our terms, end quote. Despite Trump's optimism, experts say that they don't expect a major breakthrough as direct trade talks resume. Financial analysts say the talks will likely only serve as a starting point for more detailed negotiations, which many expect could drag on for quite some time. All right, coming up next. Violent anti-Israel protests returned to Columbia University. That's not a surprise, where police arrested dozens of students Wednesday night after they seized the school's main library. On a positive note, it might have been the first time that any of these gormless half-wits saw the inside of the library. I'll be right back. Hey, Mike Baker here. Let's talk fashion. Specifically, let's talk dude style, shall we? I mean, if you're looking to upgrade your look, fellas, the only company that you need, I'm here to tell you, is True Classic. True Classic has one mission: to make sure guys look good and feel even better. They've nailed fit, feel, and price across your entire wardrobe. Not just tees, but hoodies, jeans, and activewear. Everything you need to level up your everyday style. But True Classic isn't just about great clothes. Their brand DNA is built on being highly intentional in everything they do. From creating high-quality essentials to delivering 5-star customer service to giving back to the communities, every detail is done with purpose. True Classic offers a fit that's snug where you want it and relaxed where you need it. No weird bunching. Ooh, nobody needs bunching. No awkward tight spots. You don't need those. Just a clean, effortless fit that works. Forget overpriced designer nonsense and skip the cheap throwaways. True Classic delivers premium essentials built for real life. Grab yours at Target or Costco or head to trueclassic.com/PDB today. Hey, Mike Baker here. Let's talk dieting and weight loss, right? I know, favorite topics for all. Now, are you a yo-yo dieter? Have you heard that term before? I suspect you have, and you know what it means. You diet, you lose weight, but you gain it all back. Studies show that type of behavior can increase your risk of heart attack, of stroke, type 2 diabetes, and other health problems. Breaking free of your yo-yo diet pattern is a main reason that doctors created Lean. That's Lean. Lean is a supplement. It's not an injection, and you don't need a prescription. The science behind Lean is impressive. Its natural ingredients target weight loss in 3 powerful ways. Lean helps maintain healthy blood sugar. It helps control appetite and cravings, and it helps burn fat by converting fat into energy. If you're tired of losing weight and gaining it back, and you want to lose meaningful weight at a healthy pace, Lean was created for you. Let me get you started with 20% off when you enter code PDB20 at TakeLean.com. That's code PDB20 at TakeLean.com. Welcome back to the Afternoon Bulletin. More than 100 anti-Israel protesters stormed Columbia University's library Wednesday night, sending hundreds of students scrambling for safety in one of the most disruptive campus demonstrations since last year's Gaza war protests, resulting in dozens of arrests. The late-night violence unfolded as Columbia and other elite universities face mounting federal scrutiny, along with escalating pressure from the Trump administration to crack down on campus anti-Semitism and to restore order. By the time police cleared the building, 78 protesters had been arrested, and 2 others issued summonses. That's according to the NYPD. You know what the NYPD should also do? Well, they should release that list of 78 protesters that have been arrested and make it clear how many of them are actual students and how many of them are outside activists. Videos from the scene showed helmeted officers escorting students in zip ties to waiting buses as chants of, quote, "Free Palestine," well, that's original, echoed across the Ivy League campus. University officials said the occupation forced roughly 900 students to flee Butler Library, many abandoning laptops, backpacks, and notes as the confrontation intensified just days before final exams. Acting University President Claire Shipman, who assumed the role in March after her predecessor's resignation over botched protest handling, well, she minced no words. She said the reading room had been defaced and damaged in disturbing ways and with disturbing slogans. One spray-painted threatening message read, quote, "We will always come back for Palestine." Shipman described witnessing a public safety officer wheeled out on a gurney and another being treated for injuries. She called the protest a threat to student safety and condemned it outright, stating, quote, "Violence and vandalism, hijacking a library, none of that has any place on our campus," end quote. Organizers from the group Columbia University Apartheid Divest, let's see, that acronym would be CUAD. I wonder if they thought maybe that spelt a word. Claimed responsibility, calling for the library to be renamed the Basel al-Harraj Popular University after a Palestinian activist killed by Israeli forces in 2017. Now, honestly, kids, I don't think that's going to happen. In a statement, the group said the demonstration aimed to, quote, "disrupt Columbia's profits and legitimacy," end quote. Before police arrived, campus security had locked the library's doors, briefly triggering a pushing match outside as demonstrators pressed to get in. As tensions rose, the demonstration spilled into the streets beyond campus gates. Wednesday's disruption came just hours after a contentious House Education and Workforce Committee hearing on anti-Semitism in higher education, where 3 university presidents were grilled over their handling of hate speech and the protection of Jewish students, echoing last year's testimony by then Colombian President Namat Shafiq. It also marks another chapter in Colombia's escalating standoff with the Trump administration. In March, the White House canceled $400 million in federal funding to the university, citing its failure to discipline student agitators or prevent anti-Semitic incidents on campus. The administration followed up with a list of demands. Ban masks at protests. What? Well, that would be disappointing for a lot of these protesters. I mean, dressing up in masks and keffiyehs and helmets is kind of their cosplay moment. The list also called for the university to enforce existing conduct rules, hold student groups accountable, and reevaluate Columbia's Middle East Studies curriculum. Columbia vowed to comply, but federal pressure has only intensified. ICE told Fox News it's now fingerprinting those arrested to determine if any are international students, or frankly, if they're students at all. Secretary of State Marco Rubio confirmed that the administration is reviewing visa eligibility. Hundreds of student visas have already been revoked under the administration's broader crackdown on campus unrest. Meanwhile, New York Mayor Eric Adams praised the NYPD's response, saying the city, quote, "stands with Jewish students." Governor Kathy Hochul echoed that support, thanking law enforcement and university security for ensuring student safety. And that, my friends, is the PDB Afternoon Bulletin for Thursday, the 8th of May. Now, if you have any questions or comments, please reach out to me at pdb@thefirsttv.com. And to listen to the show ad-free, well, it's easy. Just become a premium member of the President's Daily Brief by visiting pdbpremium.com. See, I told you it was easy. I'm Mike Baker, and I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, stay informed, stay safe, stay cool. Hey, Mike Baker here. Now, this July, and maybe you've heard about this, but this July there's going to be a global summit of the BRICS nations in Rio de Janeiro. The bloc of emerging superpowers, it includes China and Russia, India, and Iran, are meeting with the goal of displacing the U.S. dollar as the global currency. And they're calling it the Rio Reset. As the BRICS nations push forward with their plans, well, demand for U.S. dollars could decrease, bringing down the value of the dollar. And while this transition won't happen overnight, the Rio Reset marks a pivotal moment when BRICS objectives move from possibility toward reality. So you ask yourself, well, what can you do? I'll tell you. Birch Gold Group can help you move your hard-earned savings into a tax-sheltered IRA in precious metals. Claim your free information kit on gold by texting PDB to 989-898. With an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, let Birch Gold arm you with a free information kit on owning gold before July and the Rio Reset. Text PDB to 989-898 today. Hey, thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and leave a comment, a really positive, nice, and kind comment. That would be appreciated. And if you're not already subscribed to our channel, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our daily updates.